Hi, it's Splinterverse. Welcome to another episode of D&D New Releases, where we offer first impressions of new third-party products for Dungeons & Dragons. We cover up to 20 titles from Dungeon Masters Guild and up to 20 more from DriveThruRPG each week. The titles are presented in alphabetical order by site, and all of them are linked in the video description. Purchasing the books using those links helps the channel, but you can also support us by purchasing one of our best-selling books. We've got lineages suitable for any setting, as well as optional lineage rules in our Van Richten's Librum of Lineages. With our Potions Unlocked book, we have over 100 pages of material to take your potions to the next level in your game. Our Feywild Companion offers 150 pages of Feywild fun for players and DMs. Also, our book Fizban's Vault of Draconic Secrets contains over 50 pages of dragon-themed player options, including a subclass for each class, and much more. Please support the channel by purchasing our books using the links in the video description. This week's exclusive discount at Splinterverse is the Compendium of Tavern games. It's on sale for 50% off for a limited time, and it contains 20 mini games that you can use in your taverns. And you can see it's normally $3.99. We're going to give you 50% off that price for a limited time. Most of these discounts last just for a week, so you want to make sure you take advantage of them while they last. And that's available every Monday starting at 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time on all of our social media channels. So with this title, you've got 20 mini games, including Mage Arm Wrestling, Tall Tales, which is a storytelling mini game. You've got drinking mini games, something called Wordsmith's Tussle, and even a TTRPG mini game. And then the PDF's hyperlinked, which is nice. It says, "Are you tired of adventurers doing plain old stuff such as drinking, talking, starting brawls, etc.? Want to spice up your tavern for it to be a place of merriment to customers and be a bane to your nosy neighbors? Well, look no further. This book contains all the tavern games I have had the chance of observing and playing. I listed the common rules here, but you can twist them in any way you want." So quite a lot of games in here. I mean, everything from juggling, musical chairs, booze ball bounce, solitaire duel, chess, you name it, it's in here. I could see people even playing these games outside of D&D because some of them look really fun, enough to play them outside of this setting. So, but it's really cool because they go into, what is the game, and then what do you need, and then how does it work, and then of course all the mechanics that you need to make it happen. So, looking here at Mage Arm Wrestling, it says a magical table is what you need that a mage hand can't phase through. So just a normal table, basically. And then to participate in it, both players must know the mage hand cantrip, and then they make a spell attack roll. The player with the higher score wins the initial stage of the match, and then the player who lost the initial save must make a con save against their opponent's spell save DC. If the player's saving throw is successful, both players are back in stage 1. Otherwise, the other player wins. So it's kind of a cool little easy way to do it using existing stats. You don't have to come up with some new mini game stats. You just use, those saves and having those cantrips. So you got juggling. You determine a juggling DC. The juggling DC is 10 plus the following numbers. So you have a danger modifier, which gauges how safe it is to juggle the object. So you can use 1 to 4, where 1 is the safest, 4 is the most dangerous, like you're juggling knives, and then the number of items to be juggled. So that gives you a DC, which is pretty cool because it literally incorporates what you would expect the character to be, interacting with in the world. So you'd have, knives potentially, or some other object, and then you've got the number of those also takes a weight into it, which is, in real life, if you're juggling 3 things versus 10 things, it's going to be harder, right? So makes sense. And then you've got to make a dex check with the juggling DC. And then it gives you 6 seconds worth of juggling if you succeed on that, and then you can continue rolling successive dex checks to continue juggling. And if you fail the dex check, you can try to save it by rolling an acrobatics check with disadvantage. And if the juggler fails the acrobatic check, they catastrophically fall and take bludgeoning damage, or the objects fall, I guess I should say. So really cool. And then there's prizes. I mean, this is just fun. I mean, there's so many little games you can do and spice up the tavern. It gets tiresome, having just like poker or, poker analogies all the time, right? And in some of these mini games for taverns. So I think Gabrielo Despentes has done a great job here. It is only 20 pages, but it's got a lot of cool stuff in it. And like I said, it's $3.99, and you're going to get it for 50% off. So go to the links in the video description. It should be the first one under the timestamps, or you can look for it in the alphabetized list in the pinned comment under Compendium of Tavern Games. Give it a click, get that discount before it's gone, and enjoy. Next, we've got a brand new book from us, from Splinterverse Media. It's called Swarms of the Multiverse, and it is over 180 pages in print on demand or digital. You can see the PDF is $19.99, or you can get a softcover for $34.99, or the hardcover for $39.99. And the bundles that include the digital are the same prices, so no extra fee to get that digital along with your print version, which is awesome. And there's just a ton of stuff in the book. It's got 70 brand new creatures, as well as their swarm version. So every creature in the book either swarms, creates swarms, commands them, or has a swarm-like ability. And so you're getting over 140 stat blocks. They range from 0 to 30 on the CR scale. You've got every environment, all different kinds of creature types. I mean, just tons of stuff. You can see some of the images here. Just anything you can imagine, we covered it. And we spent a minimum of 2 pages per creature so that we'd really deep dive into the lore, give you the tactics that they use, a list of combat priorities, so that you have sort of a playlist that you can use if you want to take this creature right into a battle. You don't have to look throughout the stat block what would they do next. I don't know which one. It's listed there. You don't have to follow that, but we wanted you to have something, so if you take it into battle right away, you have that option. It's got adventure hooks, a minimum of 2 for each of the creatures, so that gives you over 150 total. It's got various bonus material that relates to the creatures, whether it's magic items, factions, diseases, you name it, it's in there. Then we've also got a whole section on creating balanced swarms. And the way we started this book was to take all of the existing 5th edition swarms and base creatures and put them into spreadsheets, analyze them, deep dive, and kind of see what makes them tick, how they get formed, so that we could reverse engineer how Wizards of the Coast is making their swarms. And then we used that to create instructions, and we found some areas that weren't really covered by Wizards, so we worked through that, figured out how we would handle things like, how do you handle recharge in a swarm, how do you handle some of the other things, like a death burst ability, for example. So we went through and really figured out how you would handle that, documented it, and then once we had all of that, we proceeded to make all the swarms in the book, and the creatures, of course, so that we could test it, right? So these instructions have been through the ringer. They're solid and balanced for you. But one of my favorite parts of the book is that we also have 4 new demi-planes, so that you can have adventures on all these new places. Maybe you're tired of some of the existing planes. You can see we've got one that is made entirely of books, one devoted to crystals. They're really fun. We've got creatures in the book that are native to those demi-planes, and then we also suggest creatures from the monster manual and other places that you can use to flesh out those demi-planes and really just have a whole campaign or experience there. So tons and tons of fun stuff. We've got a table of 50 wild effects, 80 VTT tokens, just endless material here for you. So just to show you inside a little bit, you've got the contents here. We start with the swarm creation, getting you set up with how to make your own swarms, and then once you've made your own swarms, we give you ways to tweak them. So you've got otherworldly swarms, which is some really cool actions for certain creature types to just make them jump and seem a little different, and also in a way that's not foreign to them, because they're connected to their creature types. It really ties into their identity, and these actions and traits that we give you in this section are pretty cool. And then we have deadlier swarms, where you can take any swarm and make it even more difficult using some of the actions and traits in there. Then we've got swarm host, which is where you've got this parasitic relationship between a host creature and the swarms that they host inside, and we give you some examples and instructions on how to create those. And then another really unique part of the book is our environmental swarm section, which is where we've given you swarms that are not hit point based. They're hazards that you have to overcome, like a puzzle. And so those are really fun. But you see a massive bestiary here, and then we have really cool appendices that index everything that's in the book, so that you can quickly find it by environment, type, demiplane, plane, challenge rating, whatever you're looking for, you're going to find it, and it's hyperlinked and indexed, so it's really easy to find. But you can see gorgeous art throughout, and this is our sections here on how to create your own swarms. So you can see we thought about everything. Death traits, special traits that trigger when a base creature dies, such as an ice method's death burst, continue to trigger at the death of the swarm. Optionally, an additional trigger can be added if the swarm has half its hit points or fewer to represent a portion of the swarm dying. So we've thought of everything. We really want this to be the book for swarms, and not just the swarms, these original creatures. These aren't just creatures that are reskins. We've really thought about a lot of brand new mechanics for the creatures. We've also said, how are the swarms going to be different? They shouldn't just always be like, an upscaled stat block of the original creature. It's got to have something a little different. It's got to have a reason in the lore and in the stat block for swarming. And so you'll see some differences. Sometimes they'll have an ability only when they swarm, and that's why they swarm. Or sometimes they lose an ability, or something else changes when they swarm, but then they have something else, right? So you can really surprise the players, because maybe they fought the individual creature and then they go later to fight the swarm, and there's something different about it. And so it's a lot of fun, and I can't say enough about it. We've got a whole nother video on it. I will put that at the end of the video on the end screen there, so you can click that, or you can just go to our channel and check that out. But I do hope you consider grabbing this and surprising your players with all of these creatures. I mean, we just had so much fun bringing them to you, and really the writers were unlimited. They could write as much as they wanted for their creatures. So some of them are 4 pages, some are 6. It's just a lot of material for you to integrate these into your campaign. We really wanted you to feel like, wow, I'm well supported, I have everything I need, and I can run with this. So check it out. It's in the links below under Swarms of the Multiverse. Next, we've got 30 Days of Mork Borg, Volume 3 Churches from Rugos Cone, and it's $10 for 56 pages, and it's for Mork Borg, of course. And it says, the Death Church of 𝙬𝙬. Since the nameless scripture's discovery, a sect of death-obsessed Tiverlanders has festered into a full-blown religion, the Death Church of 𝙬𝙬. Disciples prepare for a new era after the final misery, when the dead will ascend the thrones with 𝙬𝙬, herald of Necrobel, chief among the new kings. Weaving Verhu's prognostications into their beliefs led to tolerance for the church's continued existence, but the inquisitorial leash is short, and Joseph's reprisals are commonplace. So basically 3 different religions here. You've got 15 profane artifacts, 20 horrible foes. 30 arcane powers, a procedurally generated crypt complex, and 56 pages of nightmares overall. So, Borg has that fun sort of dark feel to it. And I mean, just scrolling through, you can see it's got the typical Borg wild layout and interesting stuff, which I love. So yeah, if you scroll through, you get to see some interesting things. So there's a table here called Roll a D8 or Choose Reasons to Suffer. So you've got the Grand High Augur wants a break, find someone to replace them. A faithless esoteric hermit claims to be the last Augur's father and seeks to reunite. A traveling circus wants the animal skulls for their curiosities wagon. So these are various things that you would deal with in this particular scenario they have here. And then they've got the inverted cathedral, long thought abandoned. Nagla's ancient seat has remained a repository for faith's artifacts and relics. Flying buttresses bedecked with horrific images of animals support soaring walls. Heavy vines drape the facade and obscure the inverted staircase of 666 steps, each carved with the name of a high augur. The final step awaits the name of the last of their line. Ascending the stairs provides a dizzying view of the surrounding lands, the sky, and ground, thrown into a gut-churning reversal. So, pretty cool. I love the descriptiveness of it, and the layout is just a lot of fun to look through. I mean, this really looks like a medieval book here. Yeah, I think it's a lot of fun, and you should check it out. It's under 30 Days of Borg in the links below. Give it a click. Next we have Animal Adventures, Secrets of Gullet Cove. It's a source book from Steam Forged Games Limited. It's $19.95 for 236 pages, and it's for 5th edition. It says, embark on a spellbinding adventure in a place where daring dogs and cunning cats are the heroes, right alongside their two-legged friends. Greetings, adventurer. You hold in your hands a sourcebook for the world's favorite role-playing game. Inside, you'll find a campaign and setting unlike any other. Gullet Cove. It's a wondrous seaside town home to brave heroes and dastardly villains where intriguing mysteries and incredible discoveries lurk on 2 legs or 4. It takes a special kind of hero to make the most of all Gullet Cove has to offer, and these heroes are very special indeed. They're awakened dogs and cats, cute, talkative, and longing to be unleashed on adventures. So you get rules for creating your own awakened cat and dog, a gazetteer packed with information, plot hooks, and mysteries, a bestiary stuffed with villains, monsters, and potential friends, 5 thrilling adventures to take you all over town, and the magic item, guild rules, and a bunch of other stuff. This looks so fun. And then inside you can see the beautiful artwork and the content. So it's going into the new races. You've got backgrounds related to it. So you know it's got the dog race and then like the awakened dog background, and same with the cat. And then you got religions and guilds, the gazetteer, NPCs, magic items, and then you get all into these adventures. So I think there's just so much good stuff in one book here to really get you into this whole awakened dog thing. And I mean, look at this art. You have this person guarding here, and then you've got a little awakened cat also guarding. It's really cool. It's expanded rules for creating and playing animal characters. Want to be a formidable barbarian pug? The rules are here. Want to be a sneaky feline thief? Turn to the appropriate page. Everything you need to build a unique animal adventurer is here. With new class features and unique feats, whatever you want your cat or dog to be, they can be. And then the gazetteer shows you everything you could possibly need to know about the enigmatic port of Gullet Cove, revealing its mysteries and detailing its more interesting residents. So there's places like home for retired pirates, buccaneers, and other practitioners of daring do. There's also the Seafarers Guild. So lots of fun places and characters to be had with this. I mean, even magic items. I just think this is going to be worth the money. There's so much stuff. And look, it's got 25 ratings, an average rating of 5 stars. So pretty cool. I think that's awesome. And it looks like a lot of fun. It's definitely one I want to get. So check it out under Animal Adventures, Secrets of Gullet Cove, and give it a click. Next, we've got Arms and Artifacts of Zul, Volume 2. Volume 2, Volume 2 from 𝙤𝙤𝙬𝙧𝙬. It's a suggested price of 50 cents for 10 pages. Author Cliff Dunn. And, these books are giving you information on the mega continent of Zul, the free city of Vateshar. Each week they're doing the drip release, so that you're just getting a taste of what's going on out there in these fantastical locations. And in this one, it's 10 pages, and you're getting some cool magic items. So you got the Umber brand, and the sword of Maniagos, and the horn of the true shield. I mean, the artwork is just beautiful already by itself, and then you get into some of the text. And Cliff always writes really nice lore for the items in his books. So let's look at the Umber brand here. It's a wondrous item, very rare, an enchanted ring that is presently owned and worn by the chief captain of the Hrûm Ally Gangers, a criminal guild based in the Rabbit's Run section of the North Passage Enclave in Vateshar. The current leader or chief captain of the Gangers is 𝙁𝙗𝙗, a thoroughly blighted villain. 𝙁𝙗𝙗 laid hold of the Umber band in the same way it was claimed by his many predecessors. It was pried off the finger of its last owner, the previous chief captain of the Gangers. The Umber brand is made of cold iron and set with a central encircling lapis lazuli loop. It grants the wearer the following abilities. You can cast darkness 3 times a day as the spell, except the ring bearer is immune to the effects and can see normally. And then invisibility 1 times a day, as with a ring of invisibility, with the wearer remaining invisible until the command is given or until they attack or cast a spell. And then move as with boots of elven kind, with no sounds emanating from their footsteps, regardless of the kind of surface below. And then advantage on stealth checks that rely on moving silently. So you get a lot of cool stuff. I love the connection to cold iron as well, because you could use that, especially if you go to like the Feywild or something. And then you've got the sword in here, a horn, lots of information on this horn, which is an artifact, so it should have a lot of info. But really exciting. It's only 50 cents to get these 3 items. I'm sure it's worth 50 cents. You can pay more if you want. But it's exciting to see all the new stuff coming out each week for this campaign. It's going to have a lot of great stuff. So check it out under Arms and Artifacts of Zul in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we've got Book of Magic Spell Codex Volume 1 from John Brazier Enterprises. And it's for Pathfinder 1st edition. It's $14.95 for 96 pages. It says, bringing together all the spells from nearly 24 companion sources, the Book of Magic Spell Codex has something for everyone. These spells have been updated for clarity and expanded to cover classes introduced after the original publication. These are all gathered together for the first time, so there's over 170 spells for all 26 spellcasting classes. And then there's short descriptions making it easy for you to discover and find the perfect spell. So really cool. I always love massive spell tomes, and this book is definitely that. And I love that they took the time to update things, incorporate some of the classes that came later. So you can see you got your typical spell information in here, but it's so many spells. I mean, look at this. I mean, everything from Accept Affliction all the way down to Baleful Shadow Transmutation, and just what you can see. So we've only got to see 6 pages, and we're already still just in the B's, right? We're just starting the B's. So there's just so much to be had in here. And let's read a couple of the spells here. So the first one, Accept Affliction. It's got a range of touch, and it says you can transfer the effects of affliction such as curses, diseases, and poisons from the target creature to yourself. The spell can also transfer the blinded, deafened, fatigued, nauseated, shaken, and sickened conditions. All aspects of the transferred afflictions remain the same but affect you instead of the original target. After transferring the affliction or condition, you are free to cure it in any way you can. So interesting, because you can basically take someone else's pain into you and deal with it. So that would be an interesting role-playing thing, like let me help you, and then you sort of go in there and take on what they're dealing with. And then presumably if you have this spell and you're going to use it, you have something like to cure disease or these other conditions as well. So then you can then cure yourself. So that'd be fun to see happen. Then you've got a cursed glare here. It says you channel a fell curse through your glare. If the target fails its saving throw, it begins to obsessively second guess its actions and attract bad luck. As long as the curse lasts, the target must roll twice and take the lower result on all attack rolls and saving throws. While you cast the spell, an ally within range of the subject can attempt an intimidate check as a move action. On a success, the ally adds its own glare to yours, granting you a +2 bonus on your caster level. Check to overcome spell resistance if any. Multiple allies can attempt intimidate checks, and this bonus stacks. So yeah, that's fun too. And that's just the first two. So I can only imagine what awaits you in the rest of these, and you can come here and read quite a few more. But seems like a good price to get 170 spells. I mean, $14.95. That's pretty good. So check it out in the links below under Books of Magic and give it a click. Next, we've got the Castle Oldskull Oldskull Steading Companion, and it's by Kent David Kelly. It's $4.99 for 91 pages, and it's for classic D&D, first edition, basic BECMI, OSR, all that stuff. And it says in 1978. Gary Gygax began writing dungeon modules to be published by TSR. These adventure scenarios and fascinating settings became classics, and now decades later stand firmly established within the old school subculture of fantasy role-playing. The brevity of these releases left many players and readers wanting more. Sequels and reimagined works have been published by others many times, but no one seems to ever go back to the master's original sources to figure out where many of the mysteries actually arose in prior centuries. The Oldskull Companion series features detailed new lore from the author's world of Oldskull campaign, as well as deeply researched aspects from folklore, weird fiction, fairy tales, etc. The Oldskull Steading Companion is all about hill giants, their ways, their weapons, their treasures, their allies, and their secrets. You'll find dozens of monster archetypes, giant name generators, giant bag randomizers, lore from World of Oldskull, treasure details that will enrich your campaign, and just a lot of stuff. So very cool. And I really like Kent David Kelly's work. There's a lot of books that he's made that are just awesome, and that can help you if you're designing stuff. So looking inside, you've got the intro, all the information, then you've got monsters, and then treasure, and then journey to Castle Oldskull at the end there. So fun artwork. You can see the introduction here, and then you go into Steading dungeon lore, and then here you've got encounters in Steading surrounds. So you're going to see lots of giants in this area. And so you can see multiple encounter tables already as we're going through this scroll here. And then you've got weapons of the hill giants, and then you can even roll to get the weapons that they might use. Very helpful. And then you get into the monsters, and gives you a lethality level, map of Midgard. I mean, just tons of good information, and a lot of it's woven in with some real world mythology and sources, so that you can have a deeper understanding of where did some of this stuff come from. So it says under weapons of the hill giants, veteran game masters will note that the 1977 hardcover bestiary tells us that hill giants favor clubs but will use any weapons at hand, and a 1978 dungeon module makes it clear that hill giants employ axes, spears, swords, and other weapons besides. But how are those weapons adjudicated? Sadly, that information is not available, so we're going to rectify that. The table below can be used to determine the weapons used by individual hill giants or small groups. Clubs are heavily favored because hill giants tend to be hard on weapons, and a good hefty tree trunk will always serve well to splat some insolent little folk whenever the need arises. But in a Steading, particular giants will be well armed. Also, various types of giants will wield and favor weapons in accordance with their trade. So, yeah, so you can see exactly what Kent is doing here is going back to these old modules, finding inconsistencies, looking at the underlying real world inspirations, weaving that in, and just really giving you something to, I think, enliven what you have if you have a collection of this older material. But even without that, even if you just want to use this to flesh out giants in your campaign, or use the Castle Oldskull setting, you're given options here. And I mean, $4.99 for 91 pages, and that's a lot of pages for that price. So I think you're going to get value out of this. Even if you're in 5th edition and you just want some more background for the giants, what they're up to, the lore. I mean, you can use the setting information, even some of the weapons in 5th edition, and just convert if you need to. So check it out. It's under Castle Oldskull Steading Companion in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we have the Dragon's Hoard issue number 18 from Legendary Games, $5.99. For 26 pages. It's got 16 magic items, 12 spells, 5 new subclasses, and 5 monsters. And it's, this is a monthly anthology that comes out from Legendary Games. We've looked at a few issues before. Always well done. Really cool stuff inside. So you can see here, they've got the Circle of Spirits for druids, Mischief Domain for the clerics, the Torrid Scion for fighter, as well as the Spell Sword, and then you've got the Way of the Striker for the monk, and then monsters from Alruun and Pirasta. I'm sure I mispronounced those horribly, but they sound interesting. And then you've got your intro, and then it goes right into some of the items. So we'll read one of the items, but you can see beautiful artwork interspersed here with the text, easy to read. So I like that. So the first one, Amulet of Mighty Fangs. It's wondrous and it's rare, requiring attunement. This pendant is shaped like the miniature skull of a great horned or fanged beast. While wearing it, any attack the wearer makes using a portion of its own body, including teeth, claws, horns, tail, wings, or even fists and feet, is considered magical for the purpose of overcoming resistance to damage. An unintelligent creature can attune to this item by wearing it for 1 hour. When an Amulet of Mighty Fangs is attuned, an intelligent creature can merge a weapon with the amulet. The amulet is shrunken to a tiny miniature of itself and clasped in the jaws of the skull amulet. As long as the Amulet of Mighty Fangs is attuned, any of the natural weapons described above gain the benefit of any continuous powers or materials possessed by that weapon, as if it were also attuned to the wearer. Thus, if an adamantine or silvered weapon is merged with the amulet, the wearer's attacks would be treated as adamantine or silvered. If the merged weapon grants a magical bonus on attack and damage rolls, that bonus applies to the wearer's claws, bite, and similar attacks. While they gain the benefit of a merged weapon's continuous effects, the wearer of an Amulet of Mighty Fangs cannot trigger any special abilities of the merged weapon that require actions, even if they are free or bonus actions. So, fun little amulet. Looks cool. I like the little icon of it. And they've got something called the Burning Book, Dagger of Negation, Goblin Mask. I mean, lots of stuff in here. Even some epic attunement options, because Legendary also does, epic games where they do greater than 20th levels. So, some connections there. But it's all 5th edition, all fun, and it's under Dragon's Hoard 18 in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we've got Fantasy Tokens Pack 51, Dark Menagerie. So you're getting some creatures inspired by the Witch Monster Hunting series, which is, I think, that Netflix series, with Henry Cavill, The Witcher, inspired here. But look at how cool they all look. These are top-down miniatures, or minis, tokens. And, I mean, you got like this giant toad thing. You've got all kinds of creatures. You could make up what they are. Even this sort of electrical looking thing, mini-headed thing. They all look really cool. I haven't seen that series, so I'm not super familiar with these creatures. But it's on my list of things I want to watch one of these days. But I just love how beautiful this artwork is. It's so detailed, especially for a mini. So check it out. It's under Dark Menagerie 6 in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we got Game Master's Beats, also Lasers and Liches, which is this cool setting that came out not too long ago. And it's $27.50 for 344 pages, author Chris Locke. And it says, welcome to the Retroverse, an exciting new 5th edition series from Lasers and Liches that resides in a place of half-faded memories, barely remembered songs, lost childhood friends, outdated styles, abandoned dreams, lost playthings, and time-corroded nostalgia, a place both strange and familiar, a place for adventure, friendship, chaos, and the magic of yesteryear. In short, a place that combines your love of the present with your adoration of the past. Features over 120 creature stat blocks, 100 new magical items, a huge world map, and rules on how to make your own, a D100 adventure generation table, a full adventure taking players from level 1 to 18. So quite a lot of stuff. It is considered the beta, but I mean, you will get the updated file as they work through it. So if you play Lasers and Liches, or you're looking for something that has this modern mixture to it, you can get this, and then of course get the update as things come out. But I was looking at it, and it looks pretty far along. It's not like it's even though it's beta, it's not like it's just started. I think there's been a lot of work put into it, so definitely worthwhile. And they've got a little video down here to go with the Retroverse that you can watch. But you get to see 46 pages, so you can get a really good feel for it. Starts off with the table of, looks like various bracelets. It says slap bracelet of acid power, bludgeoning power, cold power, etc. And then it gives you various bonuses like a +1 acid damage to acid-based attacks. Then you scroll through, and then you get quite a few items you can look at in here. Let me just zoom out so you can get a better feel for how it looks. I mean, look at how fun it is. All these really cool monsters that you can use. Fun artwork for those. And I love the look of this Lasers and Liches. I've always liked the look of it. The borders are so fun. It takes me back to my childhood, old Transformers stuff, because they used kind of a similar grid in Transformers. It just gives you that like 80s, 90s feel, which is really fun. So let's look at the first item here. Space shoes, wondrous item, uncommon, requires attunement. This strange footwear has a series of belts and buckles that strap over your shoes or feet, securing them in place. Bulky and awkward, they have magical and mundane parts inside that allow a creature to jump higher. These shoes have 3 charges of the jump spell, which you can activate by shouting the command word. The duration of the spell is extended to 10 minutes. The shoes regain all expended charges at dawn. The curse part says that these shoes are cursed, and changing them extends the curse to you. You can't remove the shoes unless you are targeted by the remove curse spell or similar magic. While wearing the shoes, your dex score is increased by 2, and difficult terrain costs 4 times as much movement as normal terrain. So that's a cool item, because you think, oh wow, I can jump really high, I can do all this stuff, and then you find out, oh, now I'm cursed and I'm stuck wearing these shoes. Hopefully they look really cool though. That's a fun one. You got sonic boots, Spiff's goggles, strategy guide, ultra slingshot. It says this slingshot appears to have been modified by a mad scientist, as is covered in tubes, wires, and knobs. When you ready a shot, a small perfectly shaped stone appears with a flash in the pouch. While aiming, you can turn a small knob with your thumb to charge the stone with elemental energy. The stone then deals 1 additional damage of the damage type chosen. The damage type can be acid, cold, fire, or lightning. So, this may be beta, but the editing, I mean, there's no typos. Phrasing is really easy to read. So I think this is well put together, and it's going to be a lot of fun, especially if you are looking for something with nostalgia or something that you can infuse into a modern 5th edition, or just any kind of hybrid setting where you have a little bit of the future mixed with magic. So really fun. Look for it in the links below under Lasers and Liches Game Masters Beats, and give it a click. Next, we've got Paradise, which is part of Affinity here, and it's from Deus Ex Machina Games. It is also by Chris Diaz, and it is 246 pages, $14.99 for the PDF, and it's just one of 3. So there's 3 sort of settings, I guess you would call it, or worlds that are part of Affinity. and all of them came out kind of at the same time this past week. And so we're just going to talk about Paradise, but I want you to know that there are 2 other ones. I think they may be able, you may be able to get a bundle of them. Down here at the bottom, there's a video on it. They're also down here, and the customers who bought this also purchased. I think they're really cool. I mean, you can see this really beautiful artwork. There's like this, looks like a creature inside this giant dragon here, and look at this sort of machine that has worlds in it. I mean, really fun, beautiful artwork. And it says it's a trilogy of worlds presenting unique ideas and rules but sharing similar themes, names, and even a common menace. It says select one setting or shift between all 3. While they complement one another, they are not dependent, with each game standing on its own. So you've got unique and exciting mechanics compatible with 5th edition, including new races, classes, backgrounds, weapons, armor, vehicles, spells, and monsters. It says this semi-traditional fantasy is set within a full-scale geometric model solar system. The godlike Aegeus rule the other worlds from their perch within Abraxas, manipulating conflicts between kingdoms while forbidding both magic and machines. Heroes explore truly alien landscapes while harnessing the ability to alter reality through an ancient magical language. Dive into a deep and intricate geopolitical fantasy setting, assume 6 different races and 7 new backgrounds, take control of reality with a new talisman-based Abecedarian class, enchant your character with dozens of magical brands. I mean, it just goes on. There's so much. Become a monster with avatar-powered armor. Acquire over 80 magic items. I mean, this thing is full of stuff, and you can see sort of this mech creature thing here. I mean, this is significant. Let's look inside. So you get to see 40 of those 246 pages, which is good. You get to see a really decent amount of stuff. So you got, of course, like an overview, and then we've got the royal houses, tribes, existence, like language, religion, ascension, backgrounds, words, like relics here, forbidden monsters. So yeah, this is cool. Let's see what it says here. It says Affinity employs the ultra-modern rule set published by Deus Ex Machina. So you can get that book too. I think I've seen that. It looks pretty cool. But the other one's Conestoga and Taurus. They're each so different. So you can really take your pick of which of these Affinity worlds you want to start with. But they all look really, really fun. So you've got intelligence, computer use, or demolitions, engineering. So, definitely modern. It's giving you that ultra modern feel, right? Kingdoms. Get your glossary. Looks like some good amount of flavor text here. So let's read a little bit about Abraxas. It says Abraxas is the only habitable world resting on a heaven ring rather than directly attached to Bythos. It is the home of the Aegis, with all other residents prohibited to approach. Unlike other worlds, Abraxas does not offer the illusion that it could be a real world, appearing as a chrome sphere, with rumors of this skin being transparent if one travels too close. In the Ascension faith, Abraxas is the physical representation of heaven and has been claimed to be only a portal to an extra-dimensional space larger than the world, a realm deified as heaven. There is no direct access to Abraxas, and all travel requires Aegeus technology. Unlike other worlds, the Aegeus doesn't exist atop Abraxas, but inside it. A legend claims that the planet could detach from its heaven ring and move under its own power in an emergency. And it's got like its orbital period and rotational period, all kinds of information. But, these worlds that are kind of in this sort of orrery of stuff is really cool. And they've got all details on all the different locations and events. Yeah, really, really fun stuff here. You got royalty, the different houses. So we'll read about one of those houses in just a second. But yeah, I just want to kind of quickly scroll through and show you, just the beauty of the art on these different royal houses as well. Pretty cool. You could even take some of these into, a non-modern setting, just use some of the background names, etc. So there's just so much material here. I love it. So, all right. So Aquino, it says, after Aquino was established by the 12 Covenants and claimed by the House of 𝘏𝑒𝑟k, a union with Drago's ruling house only 15 years later, effectively replaced both monarchs with a child from a marriage between the houses. Placed in steward in Drago until the child reached the appropriate age, Olden Ferris assumed the monarch of both nations. The Ferris Union was initially established to counter the growing authority of the Fourth Wind Guild. This lasted 3 generations until 0125, when the guild collapsed, only 5 years after Tybalt Ferris failed to name a proper heir, allowing 𝘏𝑒𝑟k to reassume control. This sparked a minor conflict with the House of Mezdag and Drago, which attempted to retake control of the Ferris territory. So yeah, if you love lore, this has got lore for days, and really cool maps. Yeah, this is really well thought out in terms of detail, and you're not going to be lacking for information on these different worlds, royal houses, monsters, you name it. They're all thoroughly detailed, and you get 246 pages. And this is just one of the worlds. You can get one of the other ones as well, and they have different kind of feels to them. I think one's kind of like a steampunk. So they're all different. So check it out. This one's under Paradise Affinity in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we've got Sandbox Creator from 𝘎𝙤𝙬𝙧𝙬𝙀 Studio, $3.99 for 28 pages. I really enjoy 𝘎𝙤𝙬𝙧's work. I think they're really helpful. As a creator, it can be inspiring to look through their stuff because they do a lot of like generators, creators, things like that. So this is 28 pages that generates a playable sandbox map for your campaign. It uses a standard deck of cards and dice rolls to generate sandbox styles, areas, prominent locations, weather, and thematic elements. It also works for solo player, creating a point crawl setting. You can map out your newly formed sandbox using the standard deck of cards, dice, game tokens, miniatures. Each area will be randomly generated to create a coherent and living world. Transfer your generated map into your notebook for future sessions, or use your abstract grid of playing cards to begin a solo adventure. So just double valuable here, because you're going to get to use this either solo or to map out something if you're like a DM and you want to have something mapped out. So, and this is system agnostic, system neutral, so it doesn't matter what version of D&D or whatever you're playing, you can use this. All the themes, locations, tables, structure, so it shows you kind of how to lay out the cards, and then solo play, and then using game pieces and the point crawl. It shows how you would travel along the cards, which is pretty cool. You can use dice drops, map drawing. This shows how you would draw the map. Really cool, because you've got, it just basically shows you wherever these little points are is where the landmass wraps around. So really easy to deal with. And okay, let's look at some of the sandbox tables and how they work. So this is Verdant Sandbox. Sweeping forests or lush jungles. Creating a verdant sandbox can give the players vast areas to explore, filled with green lands and roads that lie between ancient woodland. Perhaps you wish to venture deep into overgrown ruins and find the treasures of lost civilizations, or simply protect local farmers from what waits between the cursed trees along the edge of patchwork fields. So very cool. So then looking here at hearts, it goes 2 through ace. Thick forest and green cliffsides, damp swampland and twisted trees, flowered meadows and farmland. And then over on clubs, you've got rolling hills of cloud-high trees, plowed fields and towering oaks, tangled dark wilderness of evergreens. So you can see how descriptive these are, like even a primordial forest of sentient trees, jagged cliffs covered in hanging moss. These aren't just like a clump of trees, they're pretty descriptive, even though they're short, which I like. So it's just enough to really get your imagination stimulated, to make it distinct from other options in the list here, and help you just map out whatever it is you're going to do. If you're going to play solo, build a setting, homebrew setting. But as I said, I've bought quite a few Shield Dice Studio titles, and I've always enjoyed them because as a creator, it just stimulates you to sometimes roll on a table and see what comes up, and can spin you in a different direction, take you out of writer's block. And DMs are kind of like writers, right? They're writing the campaign, they're writing the homebrew. So I can see where this is going to be hugely valuable for people, and it's only $3.99. So check it out. It's under Sandbox Creator in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we have Trapmaster for 5th edition by author Greg Marks and Kobold Press. It's $4.99 for 30 pages. And it says, give your traps real teeth and spikes and deadfalls. Whether you are a novice DM hunting for inspiration or a veteran game master working to round out the deepest level of your dungeon, Trapmaster has what you're looking for. If you make that perception check, of course. From spike-lined pits to knockout gas, every kind of trap is represented, complete with diagrams for clarity. So you've got 26 fleshed out traps, both magical and mundane. Complete description of each, including triggers, effects, and countermeasures, suitability for a range of character levels, detailed diagrams illustrating form and function, traps that go beyond the dungeon, including everyday objects and locations, advice and suggestions for creating your own traps. So, this is everything you could want for traps, really. Look at this beautiful artwork. I love that. They've got some sort of snare, and then there's some bells up here for this unfortunate fellow here. And then you've got just trap design information and just fun artwork in here, showing the lock picking and everything that's going on. So there's something called Misplaced Trust, which is a simple trap. So let's take a look at some of this stuff close up. So trap design, it says you have to ask yourself some questions. So it says, as the GM, do I want the trap to be the entire encounter the players interact with, to augment some other part of an encounter, or is it a quick, simple trap? So that's a very good question to ask before you move forward with your design. It says, for this one, we want an encounter where overzealous adventurers are drawn into the goblin's lair just far enough to where once an ambush is sprung, they have trouble withdrawing. Mechanically, the trap should augment another encounter. We don't want to assume the group is going to have anyone proficient in thieves' tools, so let's build in some way to avoid or nullify the trap, at least partially, with creative thinking. So they're giving you kind of a working example as they go through the questions. So what did the goblins hope to accomplish by setting this trap? And the answer is, with this trap, the goblins hope to sound an alarm, to kill or wound intruders, and to potentially take captives. So very cool. And then you see the caging oily pit trap, which has a level 1 to 4. It's dangerous, but it's still a simple trap. It says, at the entrance to the tunnel, there's a portcullis made of timber that rises into the rock. The goblins keep it open, and there's no obvious way nearby to raise or lower it. A little farther along into the tunnel, the goblins have dug a 10-foot square, 10-foot deep pit. The pit is covered by a brown horse blanket stretched on sticks and further covered with dirt, so it looks like the rest of the floor. In the pit, the goblins have placed 2 barrels worth of oil and several cowbells stolen from farmers hanging from the blanket. A creature that steps on the blanket falls into the pit. And the effect is the triggering creature must succeed on a dex saving throw or fall into the pit, taking bludgeoning damage and being covered in oil. When the cowbells alert the goblins on watch in each of the other 2 tunnels, one of them cuts a rope holding the portcullis aloft, causing it to slam down and seal off the entrance. And then it talks about how you lift it, and then it's got a secondary effect. If a character fell into the pit is alive, the goblins threaten to drop torches into the pit unless the party surrenders. Any character in the pit, when it is set on fire, suffers fire damage for every round, and there's enough oil in the pit to burn for 3 rounds. And then how it tells you how to climb out of it. And then there's countermeasures, like you can use a perception check to reveal the blanket. The portcullis can be jammed, and you can cross the pit with a log or similar things. And then it says that indeed the goblins have taken doors from one of the barns they raided and placed one on each side of the tunnel, so you can use those to cross the pit safely as well. So pretty cool. I love how detailed these traps are, and they have little profiles, almost like a stat block, and then you're really getting that instructional material to encourage you to create your own traps, and asking asking important questions like why am I doing this trap? Traps can be really irritating if you don't do them right. So you need a book like this to make traps work for your campaign and to give you those options. There's so many in this book, 26 fully fleshed out traps. You saw how they're broken down with really easy to read stat blocks basically. And I think that's invaluable. Why not take some really professionally designed traps, work with those, especially if you're new, so you can really experience good traps instead of them being, something that your players struggle with. I think, a lot of these can be puzzles. They can be just memorable, fun parts of your game. And look at this gorgeous art. So look for it under Trap Master in the links below and give it a click. Next, we've got Treacle Cave, a first-level adventure from Craven's Keep for $4.99 for 12 pages. And it's 5th edition. And 4 players at first level. It says, for many years, Treacle Cave and the swamp that surrounds it have been avoided. Locals whisper of foul green creatures that kidnap wandering citizens in the night. Unlucky for the Ranker family, night fell on their journey home quicker than they realized. As the moon began to rise, so did the nerves of Frida and Anton, along with their young daughter Daisy. Suddenly an ambush was sprung. 2 green creatures leaped out of the swamp and began to attack the family's humble wagon. Anton fought bravely but was subdued, after which he and Daisy were snatched up. This left Frida unconscious and alone in the wake of the destruction. Once she awoke, Frida panicked and began to weep. Is there anyone out there who can help rescue her beloved family? So, really interesting summary there of this adventure. It looks pretty cool. And, Craven's always does really good stuff. I mean, their stuff always looks so nice. I always am excited to see a Craven's Keep release, because look at just even the cleanness of the layout. It's so easy to read, and these cute little frog creatures, and the maps are even adorable in their own way. So love this, love how it's set up. And if you buy their books, they have like similar pattern that they follow with their adventures, so you get used to that, and it can just make running them even easier because they've got such a clean style to how they do stuff. So it says cave exterior. There are a pair of guards stationed on the exterior of the cave mouth. One Froggart is patrolling the cave's entry with one giant frog. If the characters are spotted, the Froggart advances while the giant frog flees into the cave to warn the other guard of intruders. The Froggart fights to the death in order to delay trespassers. So this must be a Froggart, which is really cool. And that's just one area. Then they have this hibernaculum. This chamber is used for sleeping and hibernating by the denizens of Treacle Cave. This chamber is full of thick, deep mud in which several green bumps stick out. During the day, the green bumps in the mud are sleeping Froggarts and 2 giant frogs. At night, the 2 Froggarts from Area 4 are sleeping here as well, for a total of 5 bumps in the mud. While under the surface, the creatures here do not awaken to the sounds of combat from Area 2. If they are touched by any character, all the creatures slowly will begin to awaken, each taking the first round of combat to emerge. The mud in the room is 4 feet deep and is considered difficult terrain. So very well thought out. They have developments, treasure, a king for the Froggart. So if you're looking for a frog-filled adventure for this cool map here, then Treacle Cave is a really good option. Look for it in the links below and give it a click. Next, we have Trials of the Spirit Walker. It's a 7th level adventure from Beyond the Screen, and author Aviad Tal. $6.40 on sale right now for 27 pages. And it says Trials of the Spirit Walker is a 5th edition adventure that's focused on exploration, mystery, and meaningful moral choices. The character's journey will take them into the ethereal plane, a realm of spirits and danger. There they will uncover a villainous scheme, choose sides in a spiritual dilemma, and reach the heart of an ethereal storm where the final battle takes place. And it's for 4 to 5 characters of 7th level. And then there's spells, magic items, and creature stat blocks as well that go along with this adventure. And the Radiant Citadel adventure that's coming out is in the ethereal plane as well. So I think this stuff that's coming out from Beyond the Screen is very timely, because they've released this second one I've seen that involves the ethereal plane. So I think you should think about snatching these up if you're going to run the Radiant Citadel stuff, because it might come in handy. So let's look inside. Fun layout with some little like notes in here. You get to see 9 of the pages, but intro, part 1, 2 of the adventure, and then you got NPCs, items and spells, and creature stat blocks. So really nice artwork and layout as well. So let's look here at the character hook. So in the past 2 weeks, terror whites have been murdering people in Bezerov. A few of the town's doomsayers blame the angry spirits on the increasing popularity of animariums, magical items that are powered by captured spirits. The doomsayers base their blame on a message that was written in the sky 3 months ago. Woe befall on those who cage us. No star will guide you in the darkness. You will cry your own life's blood. All that is left, the storm will claim. Free us or despair. So really kind of creepy, cool message that they have to deal with. And there's a arcanist and shopkeeper that they can get some rumors and information from. And I like that there's animariums in here, which were in the past ethereal book from Beyond the Screen. So very cool tying those together. So Brewing Storm, as the characters approach the end of the first day on the plains, read the following. As the sun begins to set, you notice a peculiar storm cloud about a dozen miles to the north. It hangs low and encases the plains in thick, dark blue mist. Flashes of purple light emanate from within, followed by faint, ghostly shrills. Very cool. So yeah, I like that. It's fun stuff. Ethereal stuff, ethereal plane stuff. You just don't see that plane reference much, and it connects to the Radiant Citadel. That's where that book's going to take place. So I think this is a really cool book. So check it out in the links below under Trials of the Spirit Walker and give it a click. Next we have The Trouble with Dreams from Watcher DM, $2 suggested price for 3 pages, and author Austin Holm. It says Queen Aisling was among the kindest, wisest, and strongest of rulers before she broke a statue of the dreaming king. Now cursed with nightmares, she hasn't slept for more than a half hour for weeks. Irrational judgments, belligerent confusion, crumbling sanity. The queen's insomnia threatens total ruin for us all. So this is a dream delve for 4 6th level characters, 5th edition, and I think it's intriguing that it involves a dream delve, and you can see it's kind of pamphlet style, so you can print this and have the whole adventure in your hand. And I love this artwork here. So just scrolling through here is this really fun map that you're going to go through in this dream realm. Yeah, I think this is fun. So let me zoom in a little bit. All right, so we got snail jousts over here. It says 2 were-cheetahs riding giant snails are jousting to entertain a small audience of mirrors. The contest is intense but achingly slow. Spending an hour watching the joust wins the survivors' approval. They will answer questions about the realm of slumber, interrupting or belittling them will meet with anger and possibly violence. So let's see, what else can we read here? Let's go to the bathtub graveyard. An armless little girl seeks medical help for her brother, a giant octopus. He's dead. He'll attack anyone who breaks the news to her, but she rewards attempts to cure him with 3 potions of healing. So yeah, it's just a fun little almost what advent calendar of things that you can discover. Number 6 is the bathtub graveyard. So it's just random things, very dreamlike, right? That you would have these random things, an octopus, snail jousting. Yeah, I think this could be really fun, especially if you want to kind of explore a different realm than you've been to. And it's all for 5th edition, printable in the palm of your hands, suggested price. So check it out under Trouble with Dreams in the links below. Give it a click. Next we have Walker's Encyclopedia Pagrodina. And it's got rules and options for 5th edition, and it's by 𝘎𝙤𝙀, $14.99 on sale, and author Andrew Nichols Melton. It's 104 pages, and it's on sale for 25% for the first month, so you want to grab it now if you're interested. It says the Kanala Walker, perhaps the most brilliant mind to grace the world of Firminolv, has finally returned home after a jaunt of otherworldly sightseeing. Unfortunately, hundreds of years have passed there since he left. Now he makes the effort to document the strange new wonders of his home country, Pagrodin, all while poking fun at what didn't make the cut. Scribbled in this book are rules, options for adventures in a half-underground setting, new subclasses for all types of characters, unique races, and the fan-favorite Kanala class. There's even more to find inside, so go take a look. Walker fully expects this to be read, so his notes frequently mention you, the eventual reader. He thinks he's funny. Don't think too hard about it. So playful writing there. And the artwork is just beautiful. I mean, this is stunning right here. I think this piece is really cool. But yeah, you have this class of Kanala here that you can read about in the 13-page preview here. The whole thing is 104 pages, so it's quite a few pages, which is good. But yeah, I love all this artwork of these characters. So yeah, you can read quite a bit here in this section. And so there's these little activation items here called locust forms. So let me zoom in here. It says each form description begins with a block of information, including the form's names. So there's either the class or one of the other things in here summons these. So you've got appendage, activation time 1 action, range 30 feet, instantaneous. An appendage extends straight out from your locus to a point that you can see within range. The appendage can manipulate an object, open an unlocked door or container, stow or retrieve an item from an open container, or pour the contents out of a vial before it is retracted. The appendage can fit through a space as narrow as 1 inch wide. It cannot attack, activate magical items, or carry more than 10 pounds. So that's just one, but there's a bunch of these. So yeah, this is for the Kanalis class. Basically, they have these locus things that they can call upon. I mean, just really cool. I love the art for this. And says, so though they are uncommon in the rest of the multiverse, Kanalas can easily be found in Pagrodin. Some of the odd relics found after the fires in Chaparral can make humanoids into Kanalas. It says, when two individual forces become one, a Kanala is born. Kanalas utilize powerful gifts given to them by a creature, object, or intangible force that has become incorporated into their very bodies and souls. Their relationships with these sources of power can be simple in most cases or turbulent at the best of times. You can find everything you need to play as one of these amalgamated warriors in the next several pages. So yeah, you can see they've got spells, and then number of locust forms. And so since locust forms are kind of like spells, it's like you have spells and locust forms. So very cool. Yeah, so I think you should come read this because you can really read about the whole Kanalis here, but it looks really good. And I love all the artwork. And all the different options. I mean, so many options. You don't always get so many options when you have a new class. So that's exciting to see. And it's on sale for 25% off for the first month. So now's the time to consider getting this. So it's under Walker's Encyclopedia Pagrodina in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we have The World of Nimbus by Blaze Wigglesworth. And it's available $14.95 for the PDF, or you can get soft cover, hardcover, for $29.99 or $35.99. So it says, join the battle, repair the seals, restore the empire, forge a path to glory in the world of Nimbus. And it's 120 pages for 5th edition. So you get a complete new campaign setting, 8 new archetypes, 5 backgrounds, 3 evil archetypes, because the other ones were heroic, and then you get a corruption condition, poison crafting rules, Bronze Age weapon rules, hunting foraging rules, new uses for alignment, all kinds of stuff. And it says heroism and good and evil mean everything here. So you've got a monotheistic human world where a crumbling empire struggles to regain its bearings. Clerics have fled the continent. Sorcery and magic items are rare and can lead to corruption. I mean, it just all sounds really cool. It's immersive, rich, and full of adventure. 4 mystical regions. And there's even a video down here you can check out as well. Yeah, this sounds really fun. Unfortunately, the full-size preview is not working, so we're going to try to zoom in on this mini preview so we can show you some things. And you've got, so part 1 is the player introduction. You've got race, key terms, languages, etc. Adventuring there. Then you've got the worlds of Nimbus, and then the Encyclopedia of Nimbus, basically. So then your introduction, Genesis, the Awakening, the Golden Age. So basically the history, and then it talks about the races here. So you get into the humans, and then the archetypes. Yeah, it looks really cool. It's too pixelated for me to read for you, but I love the just the concept of this. It's just it seems really cool that the clerics have fled. There's a monotheistic religion, and magic items are rare. I mean, these are all different setups than we're used to in a lot of 5th edition stuff. So I think it's going to be so much fun. And I mean, look at the gorgeous cover. That artwork is just top notch. So check it out under World of Nimbus in the links below and give it a click. Well, that's our last DriveThruRPG title of the week. We're going to move on to DM's Guild, but before we do, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave us a comment. We will respond to all comments personally, and click those links in the video description to do your shopping with us. Even if you buy nothing that we've talked about, we get a little bit if you click those links. It helps support the channel, but I hope you do consider purchasing all the books we've talked about today. There's some stunning stuff, and there's more to come in the DM's Guild section. And if you're feeling especially generous and want to help the channel a lot, consider one of our books. We have our brand new Swarms of the Multiverse, over 180 pages of swarms, monsters, no reskins. These are all brand new with tons of new mechanics and actions and ways to create your own swarms. And it's print or digital. Really, really exciting. It's our biggest book ever, and I'm so excited for you to check it out. And then we've also got Feywild Companion, over 150 pages of Feywild goodness for both players and DMs. It's print or digital as well. Then we've got Potions Unlocked, print or digital, with over 100 pages of potion stuff, everything from fully stocked vendors to locations to brand new potions with short stories for each one explaining their origin and crafting plants, all kinds of goodness in there. And then we've got Fizban's Vault of Draconic Secrets, devoted to all things dragon, including dragon-themed subclasses for each class, spells, magic items. And then we've got Van Richten's Librum of Lineages, which deep dives into the new lineage mechanic with 4 lineages that are really distinct and conflict driven, as well as optional rules on how to manage those in your campaign. And then we've got Secrets of the Draugr, which is a race that combines the Draugr, or I'm sorry, the Duergar and the Drow into a new race that's quite different from both of those. And they also have some really fun deities and fortune telling going on there. And both Feywild Companion and Secrets of the Draugr are on sale right now under the multiverse sale that they're having on DM's Guild. So good prices on those right now. But hopefully you'll check out Swarms of the Multiverse, because that's our brand new title, and we're really excited for you to see it. All right, let's move on to DM's Guild. Our first DM's Guild title this week is Bucky and Blue's Claws and Buckshots, Wide Spectrum Critical Hits and Fumbles from Blue Goblin Games. It's $9.99 for 78 pages. And it's a comprehensive guide to the over-the-top critical hits and horrifying fumbles to unleash upon your campaign. Guaranteed to drive your players insane with fear and shock. Nearly every kind of critical hit and fumble is featured herein, from a mighty fist to the brutal damage inflicted from an energy weapon. So you've got a gruesome assortment of critical and fumbles, including beak, bite, claw. They all have different names here. There's also some new monsters, including Phineas Blue Snottingham, the crazy goblin gunslinger, and his faithful companion Bucky, the overly obsessed with gunpowder bucktooth kobold. So you've got 7 pages you can look at here, and it goes right into those critical hits and fumbles. and then specific energy criticals, and then new monsters at the end. So here's your introduction, and then get right into, you get to see one page of the critical hits and the fumbles. So whenever you roll a 20 is when you get a critical hit, and then when you roll a 1 on a d20 is when you get a fumble. So here's the critical hits under beak. So for 1 through 5 you get double damage, and it says roll all of the attack's damage dice twice and add them together, then add any applicable modifiers. And then under 6 it's henpeck and gouge. It says the attack ignores damage resistance if the target is wearing light armor. Reduce the armor's AC bonus by 1 point permanently. And then just jumping down, you've got stun and beak. The target becomes stunned until the end of its next turn. So these could be really crazy, change things. All of a sudden, extra stun, extra, penalty to AC. I mean, just all kinds of things happening because either an enemy rolled a 20, or you rolled a 20, or you rolled a 1, etc. I mean, there's so much room to do stuff with these. And, what I also like about books like this that give you just a bunch of effects is maybe you're looking for like a new monster action, or you're looking for a new magic items effect. Tables like this, you can read through it and either inspire that effect or just take one. I mean, if you purchase the book, you can use it, for your homebrew stuff. So why not? And I think this looks like it could be a lot of fun, give you a lot of options. So check it out under Bucky and Blue's Claws and Buckshots in the links below. Give it a click. Next we have Classing It Up, Sorcerous Origins, Bloodlines Beyond the Expected by Ange Svar, Beth Jones, $2.95 for 24 pages. It says enhance the sorcerers in your game with new origins, bloodlines, and meta magic options. 8 completely new bloodlines. These ancestral origins cover almost every background you can think of, everything from the blood of the moon for sorcerers touched by lycanthropy, to spores blood for sorcerers carrying some sort of infection, and then a bunch of meta magic options. So very cool. And Anja and Beth have been doing this series called Classing It Up, where they basically go toward each class and produce some bonus material for that class, and I've enjoyed every one that we've looked at. Always well done and interesting. So you can see they've got lots of different options for the origins, everything from bestial bloodline to spores blood, even something called giant bloodlines and oozing blood, and then there's a bunch of meta magic options too, which is awesome. And you can see the whole book in the preview, which I love. So let's just read about the bestial bloodline here. It says you manifest the bestial nature of your bloodline in some way. Choose one benefit from the list below. In addition to these benefits, you are more disposed to interacting with animals rather than people. You gain a +1 bonus to animal handling checks. So that's cool. You got the benefits here, and then your spells. And 14th level, you have mastered the ability to transform your body with various improvements from the natural world. You can spend sorcery points from the list below to gain certain benefits from these transformations. All the transformations stack, so you may spend as many sorcery points as you have available. Each transformation lasts for 1 minute. Eyes of the Eagle, your eyes begin to focus beyond normal vision. You can basically use a bonus action to gain advantage on perception check. You grow soft pads on your feet and your muscles relax into a more nimble state. You can spend a point to get a bonus action to gain advantage on stealth, and then 2 sorcery points as a bonus action to transform your fingernails into claws like a tiger, and you can make a melee attack inflicting slashing damage equal to 1d8 plus your strength mod. And then you also can do a lion thing here for 2 sorcery points, where you can use a bonus action to transform your incisors into long fangs, and then you can make a melee attack with piercing damage from 1d8 plus your strength modifier. So some fun animal themed stuff. And then there's even more. They go with cheetah, boar, trout, falcon. And yeah, this looks really, really fun, and lots of options, tons of options that are really, some of them just seem obvious, like why didn't Wizards do one like that? But it's okay. They're here now. We have them through this. And then I wanted to touch on the meta magic. So there's a bunch of options here. We'll just read the first one. Abrupt spell. When you cast a spell that has a casting time of 1 action or 1 bonus action, you can spend 3 sorcery points to change the casting time to 1 reaction for this casting. You can use abrupt spell even if you have used a different meta magic option during the casting of the spell. Very cool. I like that. And that's just one. I mean, look at how many are here. And then, it's all with beautiful art. I mean, there's a lot of meta magic options. I don't know. There really aren't a lot of books that give you a ton of those. So for $2.95, I think this is a steal. So check it out under Classing It Up, Sorcerous Origins, in the links below, and give it a click. Next, we have the Dragon Hunter's Handbook, tips, tricks, and tons of stat blocks for would-be dragon hunters from Alan Tucker. It is $1.95 for 42 pages. It has young adult and middle-aged stat blocks for all 15 types of dragons, chromatic, gem, and metallic, as well as deep dragons and dragon turtles. Perfect for when your party is of a level where one age group is too easy but the next is too hard. And then there's also 2 new magic items. And tips and tricks for novice dragon hunters as well. So lots of dragon goodness. You can see kind of some intro information about knowing your prey, tools of the trade, companions and allies, bait, etc. And then all those intermediary dragon ages, so that you can basically, you don't have to scale it down yourself. It's ready for you. And here's the information on the dragons, tools of the trade. There's something called a gravity well, companions and allies. And then get down here to the layers, and then you get your very first one, which is the middle-aged amethyst dragon. So this one is a CR 19. So that's very helpful, because the other ones are going to be lower or higher than that. And you don't have to, again, convert it down, tweak it, do it on the fly. It's just already done for you, because Alan Tucker has done that, which is so nice. But let's read about the gravity well. So it's a wondrous item, very rare, requires attunement. The smooth, hard sphere is 3 inches across and looks darker than a moonless night. By speaking the command word, you can cause the sphere to remain in a particular place, much like an immovable rod, and it becomes the center of gravity for everything within 60 feet. Any creature trying to leave the area must succeed on a strength check, or they are pulled toward the item instead. If a creature happens to ingest the sphere while it is unactivated and it subsequently is activated, the creature's weight becomes 10 times their normal and their movement speed is reduced to 5 feet. In addition, they must make a DC 20 strength saving throw or fall prone. The saving throw can be repeated at the end of each of its turns. So fun. I like that item, and I like that it has 2 different ways you can use it. And then it talks about other things like potions of resistance, all those things, cube of force. Yeah, and there's lots of great artwork in here. So if you're a fan of dragons, or you want to unleash some dragons on your campaign, maybe you've been bitten by that in the past, that the dragon you had was too powerful or not powerful enough. Now you're going to have all those intermediary options you really need to give you that edge, and to just, why not have them on hand? I mean, for $2 you can have this, almost $2 you can have this just sitting there ready to go whenever you need that dragon. And maybe you're going to do like a whole dragon themed thing. I mean, Dragonlance is coming, right? So there's dragons in that. It's more than dragons, but there's going to be dragons in that, right? So you have all these different stat blocks that you can create even a whole civilization of different age dragons. So check it out under Dragon Hunter's Handbook in the links below, and give it a click. Next, we have the Eldritch Champion from Joshua Taylor, $1.99 for 18 pages. It says, join the secretive and powerful ranks of Eldritch Champions. Everything you need to play an Eldritch Champion, which is a spell sword class who uses both their martial prowess and magical knowledge to accomplish their goals. You can bind yourself to one of 6 mystic orders, each with their own secrets and philosophy. So you get 6 new spells, a new magical item, and then 29 arcane secrets, which is something that the Eldritch Champion gets, but it says it can also be maybe used as a warlock invocation, and then you get 6 subclasses for this new class. So yeah, it sounds really cool, and you get to see 7 of the 18 pages in the preview. So let's zoom in and see what we can read about the class. So On the surface, Eldritch Champions present themselves as a united coalition of magical warriors separated into various orders specializing in various forms of magic and martial arts. The reality that to be an Eldritch Knight is to be both unified and alone. While it's true that most Eldritch Champions regard each other with a degree of mutual respect, this is primarily a pleasantry. The culture between and within the orders of Eldritch Champions is that of open competition and ambition. Politics, machinations, and secrets are the currency and procedure among their members, of which there seem to be only one rule that no knight will break: fealty to the order. Beyond that, all is fair in war, and for an Eldritch Champion, the pursuit of knowledge and power is just that. So, very cool. So they have arcane secrets. In your study of occult lore, you have unearthed fragments of forbidden or lost knowledge that imbue you with an abiding magical ability. At first level, you gain one arcane secret of your choice. And then when you gain a level in this class, you can choose one of the secrets you know and replace it with another. That's really cool. And then it says, in addition, refer to the list of Warlock invocation options also available. So that's cool. So it looks like you can basically use invocations as well. So this will give you a second class to use those. Very nice. And then it's got all the information down here. So beginning at second level, your arcane research and inclusion among the ranks of Eldritch Champions has granted you the facility to cast spells. Eldritch Champions use magical techniques similar to those practiced by wizards. However, with a focus on combat, the orders of Eldritch Champions have developed a method of spellcasting that focuses on unleashing the full force of their abilities. Through their bond and loyalty, the collective of knights becomes stronger as a whole, while strengthening the individual. These knights learn a comparatively small number of spells, committing them to memory instead of keeping them in a spell book. So, cool. All right, yeah, I mean, it seems very Warlock-esque, but with some differences. And, you could even, get this and use some of these arcane secrets as Warlock invocations. I mean, whether you use the class, subclass, or not, $1.99 is a pretty good price to get all of this information, and it looks like it could be a fun class too. So check it out under Eldritch Champion in the links below and give it a click. Next we have Quick and Dirty Legendary Features by Dark Abyss Keeper. It's $1 for 3 pages. It says legendary actions are required to level the playing field between monsters and a group of player characters, especially when they're flying solo. Legendary resistances, on the other hand, are designed to stop the same group from utterly curb stomping the same creatures, but feel so much worse. When your monsters can just say no to your players' ideas, they end up being frustrated and not wanting to use their stronger abilities at all. Quick and Dirty Legendary Features seeks to marry these two systems together into a cohesive whole, creating something that makes sense and feels good to play. It includes the logic behind the system, examples and suggestions, including a stat block for a white dragon and a more modest legendary option. So this is so true. Like, I was playing in a campaign not too long ago as a warlock, and we had one with legendary resistance we were going up against, and it was just so frustrating because I'm like, I have so few spell slots. I can't short rest in the middle of this, and you're just gonna like negate everything, literally everything. It's just boring. I mean, especially when the group is taking forever, because then you're like waiting a half hour to basically try and nothing happens, and then you wait another 15 minutes to a half hour, and it's just not the best. I'm sure there are DMs that run it well, but when it's not run well, it's just an absolute nightmare. So I'm happy to see people taking opportunities to try and offer an alternative. This is part of a Quick and Dirty series from Dark Abyss Keeper, where you can get all 4 of them for $3.69 in a bundle. So consider that as well. But let's look inside. So legend points. In the rules as written system, a creature has a number of legendary actions that they can perform in between other creatures' turns. They also have a number of legendary resistances to protect them from save or suck spells. This system combines these two systems together into legend points, which both legendary actions and resistances spend. Okay, so that already is helping, because you're basically making it so that they can't use all of them simultaneously. They got to pick and choose, which is good. A creature can have any number of legend points the DM feels is appropriate, but a good rule of thumb is to give them enough to match the number of actions the party can put out. A creature regains all of its legend points at the beginning of its turn. Okay, so then A creature with legendary resistances can spend legend points to make them more likely to survive the encounter, whether this manifests as a bonus to a saving throw, the prevention of damage, or a healing effect. So you can take a creature that has 3 legendary actions and 3 legendary resistances, give them 5 legend points, make their legendary resistance require sacrificing a legend point. This gives you a legendary creature that comes out of the gate able to swing hard and loses some of that power when it uses it to shrug off powerful effects. And you can make minor tweaks to the formula. So, pretty cool. Yeah, I'm not doing it the best justice here, but I think you need to come read this. But it looks like it's gonna give you an option to make these legendary resistances not so painful. Because you can see, like under this one, it says legendary resistances. Sacrificial shield. As a reaction when hit by an attack, the berserker can sacrifice a legend point to prevent all damage dealt to them this turn. So, yeah, instead of using one of these legendary actions, they can sacrifice a legend point. Pretty cool. I like it. It's under quick and dirty legendary features. Give it a click. Next, we've got RM2 Angels of Death, Undead Angels for Tragical Stories of Fall. And it is from 𝙤𝙤𝙬𝙤𝙤, and it's 7 pages. And it says, when angels become undead. So in this guide, you'll find statistics of angelic creatures transformed into fearsome undead opponents. They can work with Ravenloft or any other setting. So you've got the Death Angel and Planetar Death, Solar Death. So yeah, you're just basically getting conversions of these divas and other things from Monster Manual to something darker. And then you get the lore that goes with it. So you are probably already familiar with the Diva stat block, but it's got something called the Deadly Touch here. It says the Death Diva touches another creature. The target magically takes 20 necrotic damage. A humanoid slain by this attack rises 24 hours later as a ghoul under the Diva's control, unless the humanoid is restored to life or its body is destroyed. So, pretty cool. Death Angel. And, there's all this lore that goes along with it. And then you got the Death Planetar and the Solar Death. So this could be really fun. I like this series because Igor is basically taking existing stat blocks, tweaking them a little bit, and then giving all new lore. So it makes it easier to run because you already kind of know most of the stat block. And then you're getting some new stuff to go with it. So, and these are fun twists, like you wouldn't normally think of the angels as being dark. So I like it. It's under RM2 Angels of Death, and the links below. Give it a click. Next, we've got the Scholar. It is an intelligence-based class for low magic settings, and it's suggested price of $0 for 10 pages by Zachary K. And if you look inside, it's pretty cool. There's some different ways this is handled. It says scholars are students of the world around them. Though they can learn much in a library or laboratory, they are just as able to turn their powers of observation and deduction to puzzling out the weaknesses of a monster or solving a sphinx's riddle. So let's see, where does it talk about what they get? So at first level, you are an exceptionally quick thinker and can use your wits to overcome nearly any type of problem. When you make an ability check, you can choose to add your intelligence modifier to the check. And then it tells you how many times you can do that. And then monsters, you can learn about their weaknesses, and you have certain discoveries. You gain an academic insight at second level, which is, I think this is like your subclass. And what else? Let's see. Oh no, okay, that's like a power, almost like an invocation. And then you've got Scholastic Discipline, which is your subclass. So you can pick Arcanist, Physician, and Tactician. Very cool. So here's the discipline. So you have the Arcanist. A wizard may be able to use their studies into the arcane to master magical spells and abilities, but an Arcanist has no such talent. They make up for this with peerless grasp of arcane theory and the ability to mix mundane ingredients into compounds that have magical effects, or appear to have magical effects to the unenlightened. In parts of the world where true magic is common, an Arcanist might be seen as nothing more than a charlatan, but in places where spellcraft is rare, an Arcanist is often viewed with awe. So cool. And then you've got your various subclasses here, but then you get to the academic insight. So I just want to read one of those. So, ancestral language. Your studies have granted you knowledge of the first language from which all others descended. By spending 1 minute studying a page of text, you can determine the language it is written in and the literal meaning. So that's super helpful. So yeah, this could be a fun class, especially for a low magic setting. And I like all these different little scholarly abilities. I mean, even just giving one of those abilities to an NPC, like maybe you could have like a character in the town that is able to like read a page of text and discern what language it is and like the gist of it. I mean, that's a interesting character that you could use a lot in a long campaign. So I like this a lot. So check it out under the Scholar in the links below and give it a click. Next we have 𝙭𝙤𝙤 Handbook to the Plains by Jesse Queensberry and it is 137 pages for $14.99. That's a lot of pages, and it's a planner themed supplement bringing both new and old monsters, magic items, spells, and feats. And it's got planner dragons, 2 new subclasses for each class, and improvised weapons, weapon conjuration spells. So this book has a lot going on. You can see the table of contents, all these character options. Yeah, just so much. And I like the artwork in here too. It's pretty cool. So yeah, here's the new character races, the 𝙄𝙄. We'll look at that in a minute. But I mean, for the character options, you got these new races, the 𝙄𝙄, Spritekin, Winterling, and then you've got sub races, dwarves, elves, gnomes, tieflings, and then you've got the Magichef under the artificer, all the way down to the Stygian Creed for wizards, and something called a Desperado for the rogues, Oath of Hellfire for the paladin. I mean, just lots of fun little options, and then a bunch of new creatures, everything from Archfey to the Winterling, and some NPCs, spells, new items, just packed full of stuff. And let's see what we can learn about this race, the 𝙄𝙄. 𝙄𝙄ans are small humanoids who resemble bees or wasps. They tend to live in large colonies run by their queens, collecting nectar or tree sap. They defend their homes fiercely, using stingers full of paralytic toxins to deter their enemies. So in terms of abilities, they have dark vision. They have a language of their choice. It says you have a bee-like stinger you can use to make unarmed strikes using strength or dex. If you hit with it, you deal poison damage equal to 1d6 plus whichever modifier you use for the attack roll instead of the bludgeoning damage normal for an unarmed strike. You are considered proficient with this attack. In addition, the creature you hit must make a con saving throw or be poisoned for 1 minute. While poisoned, the creature repeats the saving throw at the end of each of its turns. And then it gives you the DC information. But look at this really nice artwork. Love that. And then there's a variant, the fledgling flyer, where they have a glide ability. So they have flight. While not incapacity, you do not take falling damage and can fall at a speed of not flight, but gliding, I should say. You can fall at a speed of 30 feet per round. You can move up to your movement speed through the air while gliding, but cannot gain altitude. When you reach 5th level, replace this feature with the flight feature. Okay, so they do get flight. All right, I love this art. So cute and good. And that's just one race. They've got so much stuff. And it just looks really fun. So check it out under 𝙭Handbook to the Plains in the links below and give it a click. Next, we got Strixhaven First Class by Daryl Ho. It's $14.99 for 56 pages. And it says it's a new compendium of character options set in Strixhaven University. But what's really cool about this book is, when the Strixhaven Unearthed Arcana came out, it had these cross-class subclasses. And so what this author has decided to do is to turn those into something called an archetype, which is another name for subclass, but still they're trying to differentiate it a little bit here. And it says there's 2 sets of archetypes for each college, 10 in total. So spellcasters and martial characters will have plenty of options to play with and explore. And then there's sample NPCs and then some maneuvers for each college, 35 in total, to give martial characters their own unique form of magic, expanding their options in combat. So I just want to do a quick scroll so you can see the cool layout. But let's zoom in and read a little bit more. So it says, note that this approach should not amount to creating a new subclass for each class. This is not about designing a full suite of unique features for a Lorehold, Bard, Cleric, Wizard. The core features of the archetype should remain shared while leaving just enough space for a unique archetype feature for each class. Deciding when to depart from the shared archetype feature structure must strike a balance between achieving thematic and mechanical cohesion for that archetype's identity and remaining true to the subclass's design philosophy and playstyle of each individual class. So very cool that they have that they're detailing their design philosophy. I love that. Unlike regular subclasses, the archetypes presented here are designed to be compatible with multiple classes. The classes that are compatible with each archetype are specified. When you choose a subclass for your character, you can instead choose an archetype so long as the archetype is compatible with your character's class. You can choose the archetype only once, even if you multi-class into another class. Unless otherwise noted, features within an archetype are shared amongst all classes in that archetype. Certain features, however, are class-specific and will be marked as such. So you can see here, this is the Mage of Lorehold. It's got the Bard, Cleric, and Wizard. And you can see that some of the abilities are just individual, like Divine Strike, whereas others are not. So this is Lorehold wizards use epic sagas as mnemonics to help them memorize their spells, whilst Lorehold bards, and clerics dispense wisdom and guidance distilled from centuries worth of experience. So level 1, you learn the Sacred Flame and Thaumaturgy cantrips. You learn additional spells when you reach certain levels in this class shown in this table here. And then each of the spells counts as a spell for you. All that good stuff about gold. And this is whenever you finish a long rest, you can replace any number of these spells. And then also at first level, you gain proficiency with the medium armor and martial weapons and one of the following skills, Arcana or History. And you draw inspiration for the great deeds accomplished by heroes of legend, manifesting their skills of magic. Whenever you finish a long rest, choose one of the following archetypes, Healer, Sage, or Warrior. You gain access to a bonus cantrip based on the archetype you chose. So you get, you can change your cantrip every day, basically. Pretty cool. And then this, you can see right here, see it says Channel Divinity, Combat Professor, Cleric, or Singer, Bard. So mixing in some of those things that you would expect, like Channel Divinity with a Cleric, right? So you don't lose that necessarily as you get into these archetypes, as the author is calling them. And then you've got some NPCs that have that exact archetype. So pretty fun. I like this. Nice design, Daryl, and I like it. So check it out under Strixhaven First Class, and just see what you can do with it. I think it could be really fun. I like the way they've tweaked it from the Unearthed Arcana. It's in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we've got the Voidfarer's Guide to the Verse, Volume 2, and it is from the Illuminati, I guess, but spelled differently. $4.99, and it is 76 pages. That's a lot of pages for $4.99. So really cool. It says it's got a lot of like sci-fi stuff in it. So it's 14 playable races, including the Scalves, a small anthropomorphic mole rat, men handy with salvage technology with 3 subspecies. And then there's 8 starfaring character backgrounds, such as the Asteroid Reaver, Intergalactic Anthropologist, and more. Then 3 new classes, such as Star Pirate, Scientist, etc. And then 17 vehicles. So lots of stuff for you if you're playing modern or a sci-fi version of things, including Skyjunk platforms, which you can see this one here. And you got the Armored Rover, which is a huge vehicle, and then the Hover Bike and the Hopper Skiff. I mean, just lots of stuff. You get to see 13 of those 76 pages. You got actions for your station, shipyard, outfitting your own void ship, and then artificial intelligence as a race. So pretty cool. So let's just read about the Skyjunk platform. Skyjunks are the colloquial term for makeshift vessels built from shipping containers strapped to Detroit Workhorse class hover barge. Hover barges are a common sight in large spaceports used to unload and distribute goods from massive intergalactic trading vessels. Workhorse barges feature a powerful anti-gravity engine capable of lifting many tons, but are plotting machines not designed for space travel and described by Void fighter pilots as painfully slow. Despite being slow and not very maneuverable, hover barges dumped in scrapyards are exciting finds for salvagers and can change the fortunes of the finder. Simply abandoned in favor of newer models, parts of the barges are easy to come by or fabricate. And they're attractive pirate targets. So that's cool. I can see where you could work those into a modern campaign, and they're air vehicles. So yeah, having so many vehicle stat blocks would be really cool. You need that. You don't get a lot of vehicles, especially if you're playing modern. There just aren't a lot of them out there. So I think you should check it out. It's under Voidfarer's Guide to the Verse in the links below. Give it a click. And next we have our discount for next week. I'm gonna sneak preview it for you. It's called Quite the Pickle. It's a Saltmarsh adventure by Trevor Sala, and it is really cool because all the proceeds go to Extra Life to benefit Children's Miracle Network hospitals. We're going to give you a discount to it next week, but it says just about every community, big or small, civilized or seedy, has at least one popular tavern. Folks may go there to relax or to look for work, to celebrate or to mope, to learn the latest or to forget. And while some may be willing to travel far from the comfort of their favorite watering hole in search of adventure in the seaside town of Saltmarsh, they may not have to. So enjoy food and drink, gossip, darts, and competition, and maybe a rousing bar fight. Participate in a gambling night. Watch out for pirates. Just all kinds of encounters and fun related to Saltmarsh. And I think it's just really cool. And look at how gorgeously laid out it is. We'll look at more of it and open the previews and stuff next week. But I just want to give you a taste of what's coming, because you need to make sure you're following us at Splinterverse on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and of course here, so that you can get access to these discounts every Monday at 10 a.m. MST, and they usually only last until our next video, or a little beyond that. So you want to make sure you grab those basically as soon as you can. I would say they usually range from the Monday when we announce them through that Sunday, and then the next Monday when the next one comes out. The old one a lot of times is no longer valid, so definitely want to take advantage of those. So excited to share this one with you next Monday, 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time at Splinterverse. Thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave a comment, share the video with friends. Click those links in the video description to buy all the awesome books this week. If you purchase anything, you're going to help the channel, and consider purchasing one of our books, including our brand new Swarms of the Multiverse, over 180 pages, print and digital. So much good stuff in there. If you're a DM, you got to have it. It's everybody who's seen it has been so kind and said that they really love it and look forward to using it in their campaign. So I can't wait to hear what you think of it, and I hope you check it out. It's in the links below as well. Until next time, happy adventuring.